Today, folks, we have the great privilege to sit down with Chef Andre Rush. He has cooked in 4 different White House administrations from Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump. He has served in different combat zones. He's a power lifter. He trains dogs. He does all sorts of things, ladies and gentlemen, and we get to talk to him today. Ladies and gentlemen, Chef Rush. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the things I always try and do is find one-of-one characters. That's one of my things in life, is finding people that are remarkable, that I admire. And we're sitting down with a wonderful man today, Chef Rush, who has lived the story of many lives. He's done bodybuilding. He's a chef in the White House. He served in the military. He's a speaker. You train dogs, too?
I'm a dog trainer, service dog.
I don't think there's anything this guy doesn't do. So we're going to dive into it today. But my first question, Chef Rush, you said you've been traveling an absolute storm up this year.
I have.
You've taken 157 plane flights, and we're in the beginning of June right now.
Yeah, I know. It was over 500,000 miles last year. Now I've, just in the last couple of weeks, I've taken, 5 trips already.
So you are a man on a mission.
On a mission, of course. I mean, if that's what you, I think it's just a lifestyle. I wouldn't even say a mission. It's what we do. You like what you do.
Do you think that this purpose, like that's just what guides you? I feel like if you're not on a mission, so let's back up a little bit. A lot of what you focus on is mental health for men, right?
Of course.
Because like if you look at the professions that are most affected, it is military folks, police. The number one cause for both of them is suicide.
Suicide.
And as men, we're not allowed to talk about that stuff. Like we were just, for some reason, part of the masculinity that's in our culture, we're not allowed to explore the soft side of what it means to be a man. Can I hug somebody? Can I talk about my feelings? For instance, we were just with the gangster rapper yesterday who didn't want his homeboy to hug him in the photo. Like didn't want to to do this in the photo. He's like, no, get your arm off me. I don't do that shit. And it was like, why is that?
You know what is that stigma? And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because, I'll be honest with you, like African American, black men, we'll be like, no, don't hug me, bro. Don't do no photos. I got to look this way. I got to be that way. I got to be that. But if you just do something, you'll be amazed at how a picture or how a smile will affect someone.
Yeah.
It just makes everybody else more relaxed. And it's the stigma that we have, even in the military, where you can't admit to being like, I need some help. When I came out and said, I have PTSD. I went out nationally and said it. I got this flood of support from a bunch of other, I use alpha males as a terminology, and alpha females, and just people in general saying, I appreciate you. Yeah, the dude that say, I appreciate you doing that. And from that, everybody else follows suit.
So I guess when we address the stigma of mental health, but also it seems like we're in a mental health crisis. Would you agree with that?
No, absolutely, 100%. But not only just for the older crowd, not men or women, kids. It's huge for kids. And now, especially with social media.
So you get to speak to kids, you get to travel to schools, you get to travel all over the country and the world. What are you noticing? Because it seems like a guy that's traveled as much as you would have a pulse on what's going on.
It is a very big disconnect. It's a big disconnect because of a couple factors. You have, of course, social media. You have phones. There's no playgrounds around anymore. There's nothing but video games, and there's schools, and everybody wants to be trending. Everybody wants to be viral, and everybody wants to be the alpha. I use it as kids. And then you have so many different generation gaps where parents are extremely busy. The economy is extremely high, so it's overworking. They don't work. They don't talk together. They don't eat together. They don't go out together. All those different things. And then you got the bullies. I was bullied when I was a kid, and now the bullies are a lot.
Someone bullied you, dude?
Someone bullied me.
Were your arms that big back in the day?
I was pretty strong then, but I was also very docile. I was very quiet. And the thing about being strong and big, if a weaker person can see that and know that they can push you around, they'll do it.
Tell me if this hits home. I think one of the skills I've had to learn as a business owner, being a landlord, doing a lot of things where now, there's a lot of requests coming your way that you have to decipher through. A skill that I was really bad at that I've had to grow to be good at is being assertive. Because I think if you're strong and you think you're going to be assertive, you're worried you're being mean to people or you're saying the wrong thing. Is that a skill that you've had to work on to be to feel better as a person?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's the difference.
Yeah.
I am a guy with 24-inch biceps.
They're big, folks.
I'm also black, and sometimes I get the impression of, ooh, you can be really aggressive. And even in my military career, I could say something, and he could say something the exactly same, and they'll say, you're being too aggressive. And I'm like, I said it the exact same way. So now I had to learn how to focus and home in, and that's why I told you you have to be like a chameleon. You got to be able to articulate, and you got to be able to relate to everybody, no matter what category, what race, creed, color, even bank account. You have to be relatable so people can understand that. But at the same time, you can't let people push you around, because once they do it, they can take your kindness as a weakness.
Okay, so maybe you can help me with something, because one thing I've encountered is we do videos about everything from fasting with Muslims to being with homeless guys underground Las Vegas to visiting the most gangster places in the country. And I just had an experience yesterday, and it's happened before, where some dudes pull me out of the studio and they're like, yo, I got to introduce this guy. And I go up and they're like, give me your phone. And then they make me take out my phone and like put in their Instagram and follow. And like, they're very aggressive with like, you're going to come to my city next, like what they're going to do. So if particularly, let's say this, a gangster rapper reaches out to you and says, Chef Rush, you're going to cook in my city next. And how would you address that?
It's not happening.
Would you ignore the message? Would you respond to it?
If they reach out to me in that form, I'm ignoring it. I'm ignoring it. There's no reason for me to. I mean, I get who you are, what you do, and whatnot, right? Or I could be more on the side where I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? And then have a conversation, because sometimes people don't like to ask. They like to tell you and make it seem as so. But to me, the way I grew up was, I'm from the hospitality state. You have to be hospitable too.
That's Mississippi.
That's Mississippi. I am a hospitable person. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Regardless of the fact, I open the door. I say thank you. No matter who you are, I appreciate you. All of those good things, regardless of what my status is and status quo. People that have to understand that I want that same energy to reflect back onto them. So what do you want me to do at your city? What do you want me to do? What do you cook? What? How much money do you have? First off, is it for a charity? Or is it for you guys? Because I don't cook for anybody. I'm not cooking for anybody, not to make you look good. And I've turned down a lot of people.
So maybe by asking some good questions, I put the ball back in their court.
Exactly. It has to be some questions. Then they're like, well, you coming to my city. Oh, are you paying for it? Or what is this going to be? You want my rate sheet? Do you want my rider? What do you want me to do? You got to, and plus, even if I do send you all that, it has to be something that aligns with me. I can't just do stuff that makes absolutely no sense.
Now, it's easier for me to ignore people that are out of state, but I live in Milwaukee, and I'm only a few blocks from where it starts to get real treacherous. And the last thing I want is to get caught in traffic by a guy that thinks I ignored him on Instagram, and now I can't go back home. If it was someone local, would you change your approach or same idea?
No, I would say the same idea. If you know who I am, you know what I do, you've seen all my stuff, why would you come at me knowing that I wouldn't do anything differently?
Okay, I like his feedback, and I'm going to use it. Another thing I'm curious about, why do you think Southern people are more polite, or do you think Southern people are more polite than Northern folks or other folks in America?
Absolutely. I mean, it is what it is. That's why Mississippi is called a hospitality state, but it can be very aggressive. And also it has a lot of stigmas that went along with it, which I talk about in my book, and which is the truth. But I will not judge one person out of a million. I wouldn't judge 900,000 out of a million. If 900,000 is that person or that way, I still got 100,000 that's left that's not. So I can't just assume.
So you said you came out nationally about PTSD. In what ways did it manifest for you, and how did it hit you?
9/11. I was in the Pentagon. That was one of those times, and I didn't know it at the time. It hit hard. I was with a bunch of, I use the word alphas a lot, so I'll say it, with the DOD, I trained with them. We worked out together. We did all the things from the squats and all that, going to the gym. So you got real men in this game. And when a couple of guys came to me and said, hey, I'm going to get, the same way I did, I'm going to go ahead and get some help because I think things are bothering me. And I was like, wow, that's deep. These guys said, I need to do that. And that was back then. And I was just like, I didn't know what that looked like. But when I went to my chain and said, hey, I think I want to get, but you have to remember, I'm in a very different situation. And they said, do you like your job? And when that was said, carry on, do your job. And it's
so if you started to bring up anything about how you were feeling or mental health, they basically said, step in line or get out.
No, not step in line to get out, meaning that basically if you do this, you know that's going to affect your career.
So be silent, otherwise the implications of speaking out could hurt your career.
Of course, sometimes that's the truth of the nature. You know, people will say, no, it doesn't happen that way. It's HR, this and this and this and this. But internally, things happen all the time.
A book I read, it was by a gentleman named Sebastian Junger, and the book is called Tribe. And what he talks about one of the things is lack of belonging in this culture, but also that what he noticed is when you look at suicides in the military community, most of them happen when they're home and not in a combat situation. And the reason that people are so sad is they went from having this tight-knit group of people with a common purpose, facing common danger, which really, really brings people together closely. And now they're in the more civilian world where you're talking about quotas or you're talking about, reports with paper. It's not as serious or as bonding, and they feel a lack of connection to the world, and that's when they decide that I don't want to be here anymore. You
do. You have a lot of survivor's remorse. You also have transitioning. Transitioning is hard for all the military members. Transitioning means that transitioning out of the military into a civilian world where everything is different. It's not that structure, that rapport, and all those different things, where I do a lot of speakings on that, bridging the gaps with those transitions. With military and civilian, so when you mix it up together, you get military, it's like, I did this, and I was this person, I had this person, I had 100 and so forth. Well, now you're in a cubicle. You don't have anybody but yourself. So we got to work together. And also, other side, civilian can be like, I don't care what you did. This is not the military. This is here. This is there. So you have to come to a common denominator. You have to understand each other, what each person is going through. You can't say I. It has to always be we. We need to do this. We need to work together. We need to figure this out. And sometimes you have to bring an outside source, and sometimes I'm that outside source to come in because I've lived both sides of it, and I make them marry together.
One of the things that seems to be missing in our culture is a gratitude for people, whether we're talking about the trash man, a military guy, a policeman, the guy that is cooking everything. I mean, there's just this idea that things happen and we're not thankful for the people that do it. And it just seems, I don't know how you could inject it other than just individual people starting the movement, but it just is staggering to me. Like even on the police officer side, I was listening to a retired police officer on a podcast, and he just explained all of the things he has to see on a daily basis. And for some reason, it's become popular because of a few bad guys, which we should hold accountable. We're demonizing a whole group of guys that have to pick up the muck of society and deal with it every day.
Well, I love my men and women in blue, and I contribute that to loyalty. I don't just turn my back on people because other people say they don't like them. I don't turn my back on someone or something because one or two people did something and not the whole organizations. Now, if anybody does do something, absolutely
hold them accountable.
100%. As far as us with gratitude, we are very entitled. We're very selfish, ungrateful, complacent. I say we because sometimes it's just human nature. I get into it even when I always try, like I said, being there, thank you, I appreciate you, yada, yada, all those different things is sometimes we have a slipping moment, but we are also human. But we also have to realize what our downfalls is, just like you said earlier, where if I smile at you, you're going to look at me like, wow, this big black man smiled at me. And that made a big difference.
Yeah,
or
that would make my day.
Or crack a joke. You know, and I'm being funny when I say big black man, but I'm being very serious because
you do fit the description.
I do. But you know, people say I never judge. I don't judge people. I don't judge people. People. You judge. Automatically, your mind, when you look at something from childhood to now, wherever you've been, whether it be a book, a picture, a memory or something, you're going to say something in your head. Not saying you're going to judge them like, oh, he's a mean person, but you're going to look and you're going to scrutinize what that person looks like, how it be, whether it be white, whether it be Jew, whether it be Asian, whether it be black. That's the first thing that pops in. And then you're going to put everything else along with it. Not judgment, but it's reality.
So maybe I'm wondering if this is a good guess, that sometimes adults can be intimidated by you, but do little kids come up to you and look at you as a superhero and they approach without fear?
All the time. It just happened yesterday so many times. And one of the things I do, on social media, I do a lot of fun videos now.
I did notice that.
I do a lot of them, and I started that, which I've been doing it before with my nonprofit, which is, Bridging the Gaps of underprivileged kids, which I've always gotten it, but I am, as a logistician, I sat down 3 months ago and figured out I want to get more kids to come to me. And so from that, started doing more videos, doing this, and showing different things from the superhero role to the cooking to giving back. And when you catch them and you do these videos, in between these videos, you give them nuggets. Never give up. Keep on going. Hey, we got to stick together, guys. Hey, we got to do this, damn it. I'll give up with, damn it, anything in the world to have a bully in my corner. But from that, I got now over 5 million more subscribers and followers from just doing that engagement. And from the ages of 5 to 17 is huge.
So one of your parts of your strategy is to plant little nuggets, little seeds of inspiration along the journey.
Of course. We're all role models, including yourself. People see us and see what we do and how we do it, and they're like, man, she does all that, and they're like helping people. And the thing about it is, people want to be involved more so with people that are giving. You are, the old terminology, guilty by association. I'm with you, you and me. There's always seen with me, you seen with Chef. It's like, oh, okay, those two. Oh, you know what? That's going to be powerful.
Yeah. So you kind of skipped over a part of the PTSD story in the Pentagon. You were actually in the Pentagon during 9/11. Can you tell the people what that was like?
Actually, no, because it was surreal, and even now, it is different, year after year after year after year. You know how you say it seems just like yesterday? It seems like an hour ago, a minute ago, a second ago, because once you say it, it comes back to life. In your mind, with PTSD, which you never had, you always have, it's just like triggers, coping tools, and you have to figure out a way. My coping tool, I've been in inpatient for one of them. I was in for almost 6 months. I went to another inpatient for 4 or 5 months, and then I was an outpatient for a year.
To deal with the trauma of the event.
Not just that event. It's little things build up.
Yeah,
people build up. Someone said this to me. I did a podcast with Jake Cutler, and I said it didn't matter what position you held in the military. And one of the comments was, the only thing that mattered was infantry, And I was like, that was the dumbest comment I ever heard.
Do you think that guy probably wasn't even in the infantry that said that?
It doesn't matter if he was. No, he probably was, because it's a mindset. People think like that.
Yeah.
Like, you're pug and this. Everybody has a job. I don't care if you're picking up the trash.
Yeah.
You're the garbage man. You're a secretary. Everybody has, and everybody processes things differently. So that's that compassion part you were talking about. The gratitude, the gratefulness. It's like, oh, what was your job? Oh, I was a street cleaner. Oh, okay.
Imagine living in a city without garbage men, street cleaners.
People don't think like that.
Yeah.
Imagine you don't have the service workers and people to do what they do. What would you do then?
So was it a state of panic? Was it orderly? Like, how did the Pentagon handle that? I'm trying to imagine, like, were there drills for this in place? Did people know what to do?
Of course not. No drills. Who would expect something like that? That was absolutely the worst thing that could ever happen to this world. I mean, besides, past history, in the 20th century, if you're thinking about, nobody expected to have something orchestrated where they use us as weapons against us. No one thought about that. No one thought about that. But what I will tell you is that after it did happen, strategically, a lot of things change. And by the way, they will never go back again. Traveling so much, we didn't have this before.
Yeah.
Think about traveling now. Traveling was easy.
It's a hassle now.
Traveling now is stressful.
Yeah.
Extremely stressful. There is no A to B to just go forward. Now you got to go from A all the way to Z.
It's never. I remember. I think when I was a kid, going to the airport was fun, and you would actually get like a sack lunch going onto the airplane. Was that?
Yeah, you could get a little lunch. You could. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what the best part about used to at the airport. When your loved ones drop you off, your mom and your dad, they could go in with you.
And sit with you at the gate.
And sit with you at the gate. Nothing.
So, okay, I want to highlight this part of your story. You've served in the White House under Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump. What was that like? Are there any stories you can take from those different experiences? The people want to know, Chef Rush.
The people want to know.
Because I can only imagine what would it be like to be a fly on the wall during, okay, we're going to have to invade Iraq. Like, what's the energy like in the White House during that time? Or Trump has a scandal, or Clinton just got caught with Monica Lewinsky. Like, what is the energy in the White House? What do you get to see? What's going on in there?
You ever heard the terminology poker face?
I'd imagine you have to have a pretty good one.
And even if you knew everything, you couldn't tell anything. And the thing about it is that I tell people it's different because work ethics and work habits, when you have an organization that is made to structure together all the time, it's like, I'll give you a great example. I see you guys here. They're your team. Mm-hmm. They're precise. They're on point.
These guys are animals.
They're animals.
Yeah.
You don't have to go behind them. If you do, it's very minute. And if you say something to them, they don't take offense to it. Guys, we need to do this again. We need to do that again. They don't get upset. They don't get to have egos about it. They don't get arrogant. Like, no, we need to do it this way. They just do what they need to do. In real life, people can't do that. Now imagine not having them.
I wouldn't be talking to you today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do 99.9% of the stuff I do solo. You know why? I fired everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. I'm a serial firer because I'm going to be honest. No, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I was just with a great friend of mine, Albert and Cook and Guga Foods, and I was so impressed by his team and even his wife. She was, HR, and she just was structured, and I was jealous. Mm-hmm. I'm jealous now looking at you guys, right? I'm on a plane doing all this all myself because I say, I can't give any energy. I can't give a penny. I can't give a time if you're wasting my time. I can't do it. It's not worth it for me. I'd rather fail on my own than to have somebody help me fail.
Right.
So if you think about that structure in the White House, if you say or do something, imagine how that would affect. Imagine if someone hears it. That's a wrap.
Okay, so maybe let's go this route because I know we can't. This isn't like I'm not like the National Enquirer where it's what's the craziest thing?
No, I understand. But so,
what's something maybe you found remarkable about one of the presidents? Like, wow, like the way this guy operates, I just was so impressed with him, or a good thing.
Each president, all of them had great things. Like, for instance, President Obama. People ask me all the time who was. The best one as far as, that you dissed this for. I'm like, what do you mean? Elaborate. You have to be very specific. But as a person, him and him is, of course, in the cooking arena when she started the garden and just opened it up. It opened up so many windows to do so many things. And food is life and relationships and building. And I tell people food can start wars and end wars. And also as far as being hospitable, and you talk about talking to people off the streets, that was him and her. They would stop, take the time, the moments. From President Trump, President Trump, behind closed doors, besides media, a lot of people didn't know how he was and what he did. Regardless, if you think about a person as far as their leadership styles, you have to think as a person and what they do. with even saying thank you to the people that's supporting them. Or you think about the other ones where sometimes people go through stress. And sometimes it reflects off into your staff. Or sometimes people, like I said, everybody's human. Sometimes it's just very, very stressful. If you're in charge of a whole entire country, think about that. Think about that responsibility.
I could not imagine how difficult that job would be. And also the standards that we hold these guys to, like they cannot have a bad day. They can't even have a bad moment. Like we've crucified guys for wearing tan suits. We've crucified them for like every little detail you can imagine. It's a job that I don't know how people can possibly survive.
We just do that. Like I said, it's human nature. Talk about overdone burgers or McDonald's or this or that. Here's the deal. We do it. I don't do overdone burgers, but we do things that are just out of character. Like they're human. That's the one thing people have to remember. Like, what's their favorite? Like, they go and eat all over the world, and everybody wants to try to impress them with the fattiest foods and butters and foie gras and all this other stuff that is gonna give them acid reflux or gout or high blood pressure, and they're older all the way. So you have to think about things like that. You have to put everything in perspective. The traveling, the stressors, mental health, all those things are a factor. And I tell people, if your mental's not right, you're not going to be right. Mental is the only thing that can stop you from doing everything you need to do. Eating, working out, your family, working jobs. Mental can end your life.
I've heard a rumor that Mr. Trump, President Trump, was a big fast food guy. Did he just tell the staff, pick me up something from Wendy's, or how did he handle that with you guys?
Everything is dictated. Like you have a cheat sheet. Cheat sheet says, here's what I like, here's what I don't like, here's my dietary restrictions, here's what I want, here's how I want it. So everything is already understood. Would I do fast food every day? I can't. I mean, I'm in that position to do it, but my body, because of how I work out and what I do, my body would get extremely upset with me.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Imagine going in to get a pump after 3 or 4 days straight of McDonald's.
My body would be very, very upset.
And the White House plumbing would need some work, huh?
And to each his own. And people, even with myself, I splurge. And when I say splurge, cheat days, there's no such thing as a cheat day for me. I just eat what I want to eat, but I also know I got to pay for it. I had a cookie the other day when I was with the guys in Miami, and they were like, "Oh, chef, how long is this going to take you? About 2 or 3 hours?" I said, "No, this is going to take about 4 weeks." So I have to hold myself accountable. One cookie, that's 4 weeks for me.
Until the next time you can have another cookie.
No, that's 4 weeks of me, for me just eating that cookie. If I had 2 cookies, that's going to be 8 weeks.
Whoa.
So that way I hold myself accountable. I don't give myself hours. I give myself days or weeks or times to make sure that, focus. Hey, you put a kid on punishment for 15 minutes, go in that. But trust me, if you put a kid on punishment for an hour in that corner, they ain't going to realize it the next time.
Okay, maybe a question that would be good for you is, what is your death row meal? Let's say you have one meal left on Earth. Chef Rush, what are you going to be cooking?
If I had one meal left on Earth, I'm not going to be cooking it. Everybody else, that's not going to happen.
What are you ordering to your table?
I'll be honest with you. I am ordering everything from every country, everywhere. I am that guy. I go all around the, like I said, I'm getting ready to go back to Korea. I've been to Brazil. I've been to Argentina. I've been to Mexico. I've been Spain. I love cultural food. And not only that, I don't want to just have the food. I want each person from each country to serve it to me traditionally how they eat it.
In the plastic tables, with the plastic chairs in the little tiny store.
Yep. With hands. If I have to have hands with it, I want that whole entire experience.
What's a cuisine that we Americans haven't experienced that or is underrated here that you think would do well in this country?
That would do well, or just that you?
It's delicious, but we don't have it here yet.
That we don't have it here.
Because we got Indian, we got some Brazilian steakhouses. I mean, we do have some different flavor, but what's something that is
crazy because first off, FDA won't allow it over. Like for instance, in Korea, you know, A5, they have this beef. What is it? I don't want
The
to.
Wagyu?
It's the version of Wagyu.
Okay.
But it's just as good, and it is a quarter of the price. It won't come over. Can't come over. They won't let it come over, right?
What if my people talk to your people and we have a joint meeting with the president? Do you think we could get it over here?
I can make that happen.
Okay.
We gotta work on the contract.
So now another word on the streets I've heard about you is you do 2,222 push-ups. Is it every day of the week, most days of the week?
Every day of the week except for Saturday and Sunday now. And I do that, you know, people have to elaborate. And, you know, the craziest thing about it is I talk about social media and people are like, there's no way you can do this and no way you can do that. And I'm like, those are people I don't even talk to anymore.
A lot of people boo from the bleachers, I've learned.
They can't people. But, you know, you'll hear, you know, like David Goggins, he's run 10 marathons in a row. I knew a woman who ran over, you know, 30 marathons in a row. And I seen a guy do this and that. And they go, oh, my God. And it's like, guys, stop saying you can't. If your life, or matter of fact, more so, if your loved one's life depended on it, would you be able to do it? Trust me, you would try.
Well, and the human body is built for what we train it for. And if
And
I'm
an endurance trainer. It's not like I just started in one day. It's not like it happened from X, Y, and Z. But like I said, again, with social media, people want to make jokes about it. And I don't even mind it, but I need for everybody to tell themselves or say it, oh, those push-ups ridiculous. There's a reason. It's not my workout. 22 vets commit suicide a day. I caveat because I need you to know the massive things. If I did 22, you wouldn't even talk about it.
Yeah.
But if I did 2,200, because first I didn't start with 22. I take that back. I never started with 22. I did just with the guys, and I started with 222, but I did it too fast. I'm like, that's still not enough. And then I went up to the 2,222, and I wanted people to understand how they react to that number, because the first thing they're going to say is, what's the 2 for?
It gets people talking.
It does get people talking, and it's easy. And I've so many people have challenged me, and I've challenged so many people, and I used to not to, but now I like breaking their hearts, because I want you to feel the struggle that everybody else goes through. You think it's a game or a joke or whatnot, but I take it as, imagine your family members, imagine someone that you. A loved one that passed away. Imagine your daughter passing away.
From suicide. From passing after they served in the military. Or just in general, the pain that you would feel from losing someone that close to you.
Imagine your daughter passing away from someone who committed suicide, but took her and her little brothers with them.
It's a big gash of pain in our culture, and also like the people that keep us safe and that are boots on the ground. It brings attention to them, which is the mission, right?
It is. It is, and it's. I'm reminded of that mission a little bit too much. That daughter was my daughter. 2.5 months ago. That was one of the reasons why I boosted up my social media, because I wasn't a big presence on social media, but after that happened, I needed to reach more kids. I needed to reach more people. I need to reach more understanding. I need to tell a story. I need to understand, for people to understand it, because things happen that are unfathomable that people take for granted. I tell people all the time, they'll talk about this and they'll hear this, like suicide or mental health, yada, yada, it's no big deal. But when it happens to them or their family, all of a sudden it's the biggest thing in the world, literally. I am a spokesperson for the Cancer Society. I do the things with other things. And I tell people all the time is, don't make it relevant until it happens to you. You'll take away no credibility. Don't start a GoFundMe page when you saw people that you mocked that has cancer or Alzheimer's or something, or that's old or this or that, and all of a sudden it happens to you, and then you're like, my so-and-so needs help. And I'm like, I get so angry, because people are people are evil and mean sometimes.
What would you say could be built into the infrastructure of our military and society to avoid it? Because I don't know if it's an American issue. I don't know if other countries struggle with this kind of stuff as much.
No, they do. Japan, they have the suicide forest.
And the overworking where businessmen kill themselves.
They overwork a lot. In different cultures, people just, like I said, people just don't recognize it. And different cultures just not talked about as much as it is here. But because we have just so much freedom here, everybody wants to come here. Everybody, no matter where they are and how. And now, a lot of them said, no, you know what? I'm okay. I think I'm going to stay here in my country. Maybe I'll go visit America, But at the same time, this is the greatest country in the world, where the land of opportunity. I wouldn't give it up. I would die for it in a heartbeat. I would die for any and each person in a heartbeat, regardless if they like me, love me, troll me, no matter what color they are, religion, however, is embedded. It's a DNA.
So I feel like there's a little bit of an undertide in this country of people that it's becoming popular. Like, you can express the opinion that you hate America, that America sucks, that this is the worst place ever, that it's just this like evil, terrible place. What do you say to people like that think that way?
That's here in America or not in America?
Here in America, there's people that express those opinions.
People, I'll be honest with you, there's nothing I can say to them, because it's America. You're entitled to your opinion. That's what America's made off of. Everybody has an opinion. You can agree or disagree or however. I know what my take on it is. My opinion is my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for a nation or, a group or, Black Americans, or I'm speaking as my personal opinion.
Now, you've seen so much of the world and the country. What makes you say America's the best place on earth?
Because it gives you the opportunity to go, you know what? I'll tell you. It's easy. We, like I said again, we become complacent. We'll complain about not having opportunities. We don't have this. We don't have that. You have this thing that's called a computer, where you can look up everything. Mm-hmm. And then you can Google everything you need to know, from your grants to small businesses, to FDAs, to seeing how you can improve or how they can improve. But you can see someone that can come from another country who had absolutely nothing but 20 people in a village, didn't know how to speak any English, can come here and they can start an empire worth millions and millions of dollars from absolutely nothing. And then they get their citizenship and they say, I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud of this country. When I came and I built my whole entire thing, and they can give and sponsor millions and millions of dollars for it. And then you see another country and then another country and then another country, and then we'll get upset. We'll get upset and say, how do they come over here and do this and take all our jobs? Nobody's taking your jobs. They're doing their job. It's just that simple. I wish that I could go and get the knowledge from them. It's like, teach me, tell me, because knowledge base is everything. I came from Mississippi, and there was nothing for me to learn. I didn't know anything. There wasn't a computer then. There wasn't anything in Mississippi. It was point blank nothing.
So we come across with a lot of people, like the common message I hear, whether we're in St. Louis, Milwaukee, Detroit, is people will be like, you know what? There's no opportunities for us here. There's nothing for us to do. We don't got shit. And they feel kind of discarded by America, and they feel like they're stuck. What do you say to guys like that?
And it's true. Sometimes it happens that way. One thing I would say is to people, it's like your bills. If I got bills, I can complain about it or I can do something about it. Mm-hmm. If I complain about it, the bill's still going to be there.
Yeah.
What's helping? What is that going to do?
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. People complain about bills. I got bills. What are you doing? What are you doing? And like, I'm going to pray on it. I'm like, well, God says, help yourself before He can help you. You got to help yourself. And the thing about it is that you got to stop for a moment. You got to think. You got to think and regroup, and reorganize, look at it, engage it differently, and said, what can I do differently with my life? How can I do it? I got these kids. I got this. I got whatever it may be, or whatever situation it may be. There is an out. There is a situation or circumstance. And I'm going to be honest with you, very, very transparent with you. It's not going to be easy. The government's not going to make it easy. The economy goes up every day. Taxes, prices, food, everything is going up. It is not going to go back down. So if you think you have a problem now, wait till next year.
I think there's a good chunk of people. Like I see it in there's like the kind of far left college progressives, and then I see it with a lot of dudes in the hood where they want the government to step in and solve their issues. And to me, what I would tell both camps is like, if we think daddy government's going to step in and save the day, I just think that you're going to be waiting a long, long time.
You're going to be waiting forever.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's just not going to, and I'll be very transparent with that. We have to help ourselves first, and we have to do it internally. We have to support each other on every level, and that's why everybody's categorized into these groups.
Yeah.
You think about the Jewish community, you think about the Asian community, you think about the black community, the white community, you think about all these parts of, Armenia, you think about, and everybody is grouped up. I talked to a bunch of kids at a school, and there's about 100 of them. And when I came in, it was, minority was white. Mm-hmm. They had a few Asians, they had a few black, and like one other culture. And we're in the bleachers and standing, and I'm talking to them, and I said, who's friends in here? And they're like, oh, these are friends. And I'm like, are you guys friends with them? They were like, no. I'm like, are you guys friends with them? I'm like, no. Because they were specifically in their own little group, like 4 or 5 Asian, and then like 5 or 6 black, and this. And I was like, get together. I want you guys to get together. What's your name? Tell them all your names. I need you guys to stop separating yourselves.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. Because if you do it now, at this young of an age, you're going to keep doing it. When you get older, and you're going to teach your kids how to do it and their kids how to do it, and then it keeps going and going and going and going. But for us, we have to learn how to be nice to each other. We have to learn how to be good for each other. We got to learn how to communicate and not be, I use the word jealous sometimes, or envious, or think, oh, you think you better than me? Well, am I? If you saying it, maybe that's in your mind that I am. Maybe because I'm walking up straight, or I'm talking to you like you're a man, or maybe because I said, no, I'm not going to do that. It just happens.
So you've been all over the world on different military bases. Have you ever been in an active war zone?
Yes.
What is that like? Tell the people what that's like. And where was this?
Iraq, Afghanistan. You never know. You never know. The one thing you mentioned earlier was the camaraderie, right? You all know while you're there, you don't have time to separate yourself. You don't have time for that because you don't know if the next day will be your last or that day will be your last. So you just don't have time. You don't have time. Time is something that we so take for granted. And that's why I mentioned another thing that you said earlier about once that goes away and then you come back to the real world, you'll have that separation, that camaraderie. You're like, man, we were steadfast together, and now we're not.
What I've been thinking a lot about lately is there's something about common struggle that unites people. So the two examples I'll think of is one, just as an overall country. I don't think we've ever been more united in my lifetime than after 9/11.
No, that was the one time.
Americans came together.
That was the one time.
It was popular to put up. There was newspaper clippings of the flag that you could put in your door. People were just putting up the flag, and we were all like, we had that America, fuck yeah attitude, which felt so good to have. The other example that I thought of is like the most mixed places I've ever been in my life, wrestling gyms, MMA gyms, and I would guess military bases. Why? Because there's something greater than ourselves that's particularly difficult that we have to band together to accomplish. So if you want to be a national champion wrestling team, you want to be a champion cage fighter, you want to be the base that doesn't back down from the Taliban or whoever the resistance fighters are that you're facing outside those walls, you come together. How do you bring people together without having a catastrophe or a crisis?
You put them in a stress environment together. You put them where they have to work as a team. And, you know, we call it to this day team building exercises.
Yeah.
Team building exercises, which they come in so many different forms of fashion. But I like to do them in a very unorthodox, because I don't want to do the little foo-foo team building things where it's like, well, you fall back and I'll catch you. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I want you to feel what it's like to be a real team, a team member with a real team organization. And you're right about that. You know, I fight. I love fighting. It was one of my common denominators as well, along with the military and also with the fitness culture. Fitness nature is no other place like that. It's just a whole community by itself. And the thing about it is we have a lot now today where a lot of people are trying to infiltrate it and trying to break it up. They want to make it what it's not. They want to try to talk about something, and that's the brilliancy about social media, but also the toxicity about social media is that one individual that has absolutely no merit, no followers, no nothing can do that if they can break inside, and that's unfortunate. But we, like you said, I would love, and I do, with the team building. Team building, it's what brings people together, and a lot of people don't even know what that is.
The thing is, you can do it when you get people in small groups. I'm just figuring out, how do you bridge the gap
In a community.
Yeah.
A bigger group.
Yeah.
So I do it in big groups. Like you said, you're right about that. And there's no reason for us four to do it here at the table, right? It makes no sense because it's understood. We can get that taken care of. And in a big group, it's just like looking to that camera and you talking to it and you telling everyone. Now, realistically, unrealistically, let's say if you reach 1 million people, and let's say 500,000 people did that, you know? Say 500,000 with there and say, okay, today is your day. I want you to go out. I want you to tell somebody and pass it forward and just say, hey, you're your greatest worth, and I appreciate you. And tell them, pass it on. Write a note and say it to them. Say, get this to the next person and see what happens.
Okay, guys, the challenge of this podcast is to say a genuine compliment to somebody. It could be in your workplace. It could be a text to your mother. It could be your neighbor. But say a genuine compliment to someone that you want to show love to, and let's see what the heck can happen from there.
Pass it on.
I love it. What is the power that a good meal can have on a band of troops?
So on a band of troops, food is morale.
Yeah,
like it is in real life, and that's a hard story. Because I was just with Michael J. White and Dante Wilder. We took a Black Hawk from L.A. Burbank to Fort Irwin.
Is that a helicopter?
Yes, helicopter.
Damn.
And we did some training. We ate some. I would say this because we ate some MREs. MREs is those things that can last for like 20, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Right? But
what was in your MRE? Do you remember?
You know what? Someone came, a soldier came and gave me, say, "Oh, chef, you're going to love this. My favorite MRE." And I ate it, and I'm like, I don't remember.
It was probably like meatloaf or something scary,
It was something. It was something. But it was, yeah, it came a long way from when I used to eat them. But you'll be surprised in a war, non-war situation what a good meal and the morale can do to any individual. I mean, those endorphins, it strikes up things, the memories, especially if you think about your mother, your grandmother, or someone that cooks something. It helps you get those chill bumps, your heart starts beating really fast, and you just feel comfortable. You feel elated. You're like, man, that was so good. Food stimulates you in so many different ways. And that's what I try to do, and I want to do, and I do is take it back to that from just making it a substance that you eat. Even in the bodybuilding world, I need dried chicken, I need some broccoli, and I need some dry rice. I'm like, man, forget all that. Let me go and get these herbs from out of the ground. I will sprinkle it with some little flavor. I'm gonna let you eat it how nice and juicy it is. I want you to marinate, and I want you to see how succulent, and I want you to think about that memory from your mother, your grandmother, or something where you can enjoy.
Eating together might be one of the best community builders of all, and oldest community builders of all time.
It's true. In Mississippi, in the hospitality state, my mother, that's how I started cooking, was we would sit down on a big table like this with my brothers and sisters. And it was the one time that we weren't fighting or fussing. When we sat down at that table, I was like, hey, you're my brother. You're my sister. How you guys doing today? After it was over with, but right then and there, it was just love.
One thing that I'm really, really grateful for that my parents did is, so my dad was very busy. My pop was very busy for his sales job with IBM. But most nights out of the week, and I was a triplet, so there's two other guys. We don't look alike, but there's three of us. And all five of us would sit down, and we had very good family meals. And that's a tradition I'm going to uphold when I have kids and I have a family. I just think it was such a great glue to the family. And it's something that, that was one of the biggest punishments too. If I was acting up, I wouldn't be allowed to eat with the family, and I had to wait till everyone was done. Like sitting in my room alone while everyone else was chowing down was probably it would be better than hitting me with a stick. That was what got me in line.
I love that.
So, you're a man on the move. What's coming up next in your pipeline right now?
Ooh, next on the pipeline, my show Kitchen Commando's out. Gordon Ramsay produced it. Waiting on the second season to come out now.
Kitchen Commando, what are you doing in the kitchen?
Ooh, you've seen Gordon Ramsay, right?
Yes.
You know how he is, Kitchen Nightmares?
He's intense.
He's intense.
You're the drill sergeant of the kitchen?
I'm intense.
Holy shit.
But I do have the part where I focus on community building, I focus on relationships, I focus on customer service, and I do bring all the aspects from outside, inside. Meaning, like, for instance, I told you I trained service dogs. I brought service dogs there and made them biscuits, told the whole community what they're important for, take them to the churches with the kids, do those community building, took them to food insecurity areas, and let them appreciate not just this is how it starts. This is the pipeline. This is the foundation. So I wanted something that has some substance to it. Of course, the food is going to be great. I'm going to make it all fancy and whatnot. Did a little renovation, but I wanted it to be a community builder. I wanted people to and even the last time somebody said to me about was today, like, oh my God, I love your show. Love your show. Love what you do, how you do it, so forth and so on. I'm on a MasterChef this season as well. And, I got another book coming out, and just a lot of different projects, just traveling and, just trying to do what we do.
Something I wanted to ask you. So when you're cooking for the troops, how many people are you cooking for at a time?
When I did, or when I do, what now?
No, when you were out in the field in Iraq, Afghanistan, how many people were you responsible for feeding at a given time?
So that could vary. When I was at Baghdad at embassy, I was with Marines. I trained the guys to feed all of the troops and the people in the embassy over there, and that was in the thousands, right? So that was easy. Me personally, when I went over, I went over for different circumstances. I used to kind of like grab food off the streets and do stuff while we were doing missions, and I would come back and I would cook for just a select group of my people with the general.
Yeah.
So it was like I would do like this gourmet meal for like 6 or 7 people, eight people, however it was, every week or something like that we get a break.
Okay. So I know you are quite capable of cooking gourmet, absolutely delicious and wonderful food. But has there ever been a time where you messed up on dinner, where like you burnt the dinner for the whole base and they were like, what the hell is happening, Chef Rush?
No.
No?
No.
Did you ever feel pressure? Like, holy shit, if I drop the ball, a lot of people are going to be upset with me?
No.
Because that feels like a high pressure job. Like, people think, oh, you're just the chef. But the chef has so much responsibility for morale. Did you never once had a time where it was like, oh God, this was not a good day?
No. I'm not trying to be funny, but even now and even then, I'm a very, I don't know what the word, I tell my guys, if I'm not stressing, don't you stress, even if we're right at the very end, because it is a disease. If it happens to one person, it carries over to the next people. It's kind of like you said in the White House, right? If one person is stressed and everybody else is good or whatever, and they can't do something, it's like we're a unity. We're a unit. We have to do everything together. Even at a young age, when I started cooking, and when I did or did not know, I competed all the time, and I failed a million times, and I was okay with that, because every time I failed, I learned and gained experience. I knew I was going to fail. even though I told myself I was going to win. And so when I did lose, I was like, I won. I won already. I was there. Now I got that experience. And then next year, I got better. And I got better. And I did this. And I did that. And so now it's just like, besides, I do pastries also. Besides pastry, now that's one part where you can really fail at. But otherwise, I just go.
We covered a lot of ground. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to end the episode with this. We're going to get up and do 22 push-ups. I don't know if that's too soft for you to do. Only 22. You
20, you want to do 22? You know what? Let's make it even better.
Yeah.
I want to end the episode with just doing one push-up.
And everyone back home can do it as well?
Yeah. You know why?
Why?
Why you think?
Are you going to sit on my back?
You got a strong back, but no. Because people think that the 2,222 pushes or the 22 pushes are hard. The thing about it is it always starts with one. One breath, one talk, one word. Everything starts and ends with one. Alpha and one. So one is the hardest thing to say. I admit that I have a problem. I admit that one step.
Because one is that initial momentum of getting started, and that's everything.
It takes that first time. So let's do one push-up. You'll do it, but we'll do this push-up together.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, folks, this is your chance. Back home, you can do one, or you can pump out a whole set, but let's get a push-up. Are you elbows in, guy? Or are you elbows out, guy?
We're going to do this side by side. Cool. It doesn't matter how you want to do it, so whatever is comfortable with you.
I'll do elbows.
And so the only thing we're going to do is, before I even start my push-ups, the one thing I say is, what's your cause? There has to be a reason why you're doing this. I do nothing without a cause. Everything has to have a cause to it. If you're just doing push-ups to do push-ups, you got to say, I'm doing this for my family, I'm doing it for loved ones, I'm doing it for mental health, I'm doing it for kids, I'm doing it for monetary value, I'm doing it for myself, I'm doing whatever you want to do it for.
I'm doing this because fitness makes me feel good mentally, and I know it's the same for people back home.
Okay. All right. Ready? So we'll go up and down at the same time. You just follow me. Ready for it? Here we go. Here we go. Look at me. Here we go. Yeah. So this is the one. Everything's always about one.
I knew he said one for a reason. He's gonna burn me on this one.
Burn you out? We'll never burn you out. There you go. Takes a little bit time because people have to understand what it means to do this. You can't just do it just to do it. You can't rush it. I want you to know what a struggle is. Let's go. Stop. Because when we stop, it's about those struggles in life. We have those hiccups, those bumps, those grinds, those things that make us hurt the most. And we gotta remember it. We gotta think about it. There we go. Stop. Because they keep coming each time. What do you think about that?
I think you're right. I think my arms are shaking.
No need to shake. No need to shake. It's just part of the process. 22 is easy. One is the hard one. Here we go. There you go. Stop. Okay, now we're talking about it. When you get to that level that you think about stuff, come on up with me. Come on. There we go. There you go. Right there. There we go. I want you to feel it. I want you to really feel what it feels like. I want you to feel what a struggle feels like. Think about somebody who's having a hard day, someone who's thinking about taking their life, their family, kids, struggles, all that. Let's go down. Here we go. Right here. Now you got to be. Now we're on point. 22 is already done. This is every day, all the time. You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Up. Stop. Stop. Slow. Fitness is life, right? Back down. Here you go. Here we go. Here we go. Here, up. Okay. Here we go. There you go. Back down. Here we go. All right. How you feel?
I feel like you're getting me good.
All right. On three, we're going. On three. 1, 2. Follow me. 3. Slow. Stop. Push.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a fantastic episode. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
We'll see you next episode. Peace.
Peace.